um, we're still like killer monkeys. We're still in that stage of in a embryonic stage. In terms of the when we're looking at the entire size of the universe, and the movement of time and space and how we're moving through this entire thing, we're still like little babies until then waking up in the process. And so yeah, we're going through this dark night together, as a country, and the countries uh, are shifting. I mean, look at Chile. Chile it's a beautiful example to see how, and a country like theirs, one of the most successful and wealthiest in the Southern America, in South America. Um, they've decided to redo their constitution. They voted for it, and they're on that path. It's not an easy path, but they're doing it, and they're on that trajectory, and it's amazing to see that the people have stood up and voted, and they're going along that path. So it's happening in many different places, around the world, that we're coming to this place where we're saying, like, well, this is not working. I mean, but does it mean that everything's just going to flip over and change and be this beautiful paradise? Not quite yet. I mean, we're in process. We're in progress of doing that. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take many, many, many generations, to really get to that place of really, this egoistic type of living, if we do. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to reflect. You talk about the kind of the I call it the reptilian mind. It's the foundational essence of who we are as, psychologically. We've got biological chemistry, and there's this reptilian mind that, wants us as human beings to have our basic needs met. It just compels us to do it, right? Call it the, um, I don't know. You said that use the word monkey. Something along those
The
in that
killer
context.
monkey.
Yeah, the killer monkey. And then
Instinct.
like Neanderthal type thinking, right? Which is primitive thinking, right? Yet at the same time, it's how we're wired at our core. It's survival, right? So bringing that back into the space, and then as you talk about Chile and what Chile is doing, it seems to me that as we go out there and we fight for survival, right? We live in essence of conflict in the world that we were born into, which is kind of consistent these days, right? Chile is stepping up in the context and the face of that conflict and creating a different form of government that might work, right? So is that what it comes down to, is that we as human beings with this pleasure pain mechanism and wanting more pleasure, fighting for the comfort, right? And that pleasure, as we create mechanisms to govern us, because I mean, when you get 8 billion people on a planet, they need to be governed, and that's a different conversation around.
Oh no, definitely.
Yeah, because if they're not governed, then I think we've seen what happens is
Oh, it'd be chaos. Yeah.
it becomes chaos. So we have to
I
have
mean, more
governments.
chaos.
And then look at what's happening right now in the context of our voting. And right now we're getting ready to vote in, and there's been so much activity and there's so much conflict. So as we get into this, is that what it comes down to? Is that in order to have goodness, in order to have things that work, you have to have badness and conflict first in order to make the distinction on what can be? What do you think about that?
The way I see it, and based on the work that I'm doing around human design and the understanding of how things work, we are we're in a process of developing ourselves, into becoming, and most of humanity just don't even understand what it is to be themselves. We're so used to being controlled and conditioned, that we just don't know. And so this knowledge and this system has brought this to us, the coding basically, and of how we are coded to really reclaim ourselves, by understanding that we we are here as each and every one of us, every single one of us, every single human being that exists, have the right to know how they are designed to operate on this planet. Will they, have access to it? No, not everyone, at least not right now. um, but we have this opportunity. We have the information. The way is here for us, and understanding this way and learning how to connect with that place within ourselves that allows us to be on the trajectory for exactly what we're here to shine out, what we're here to contribute to the to the collective, and in a way of being ourselves and being this uniqueness that we are. I mean, we're all unique. We're all unique human beings. Not one of us are exactly the same. I mean, it's an amazing thing, but we have no clue really of how that works. And so it's chaotic. Some of us learning and some of us have an idea of what that is. And some young ones, the past, years, 10, 20 years or so, have been being born into this thing. So it's taking some sort of a form of learning a new way of how to be ourselves and how to live together in some sort of a harmonious way, at least more harmonious. I mean, it does exist on the planet, but it's in general, when you compare to how many people are here on the planet, it's the situation is pretty grave. And so yeah, I mean, I see it as this opportunity for us to learn to live as ourselves. uh, and that's the work that we're doing here. There are many other human design analysts and teachers who are here doing this work, sharing this knowledge, and to really show us how we are encoded, how we are actually wired up, built to be ourselves and to interact with each other in a way that this planet has never seen before. So I don't know if this answers any of your questions.
Yeah, and I think it's time for that, Richard. I mean, we're all going through the timeline of life, right? I'm probably about halfway through my timeline, and I've lived a great life. It's been great, and I've still got another half to go.
Mm-hmm.
And in times as they are right now, I'm here to step into a possibility of whatever I'm meant to do, whatever my source, my creators put me on this planet to do. And I like that we've got a mechanism around helping people understand what that really is, not what it might be, but what it really is, so that we can step into this environment of conflict and chaos and whatever, war or all the bad stuff that's happening, and be the difference, be the change, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that can only happen in the context of self-awareness and realizing who we are and why we are. So good stuff. And I think that's the moral of the story in this little vignette, is that take yourself on, understand that true gift, those gifts that you've been given as a human being, and give them to the world, not the way that you think society wants you to, not because it's going to get your needs met, even though we all have economic constructs and we have to make money and things like that, but do it for the real reason that you were put here, right? For the real reason that you as a human being were designed,
And the thing is, that's beautiful, but at the same time, Chris, people just don't know what that is. They only know what they know from what they've been what's been handed to them through their lineage. And so this is a whole new education. It's a whole new way of understanding what that really means. And yes, we need to teach the young ones especially, because they are our future. So once they understand what it means to live their design, to live as themselves, to really be themselves and love themselves and trust themselves, by understanding how they're designed to navigate. And the navigation is all based on understanding how that it's wired up in your body. You have all of these sensors and everything. It's encoded in this physical body of ours, and it's a beautiful teaching and understanding, and gifting this and sharing this with one's children, and you know, and for oneself, and to pass this on to your children is the way how we have to do this. You know,
I love
I
it.
mean, it's a re-education
Well,
for
I got to tell you, Richard, it's an honor to know you because I know that's what you're about, and I've come to know myself much more effectively thanks to your spirit and your soul and your teachings and your energy and your competence and capability. So thank you for that.
Well,
And
thank you for your sharing and your honest this feeling that you woke up this morning with, which the image behind you kind of, you know, as you were sharing with me, you know, this polarity that you've been feeling so intensely, and in human design, you know, you're considered a projector, and so you've been really feeling these the feelings of, especially going into this election in a few days. You know, the intensity of the energy of the energetic emotionality that's going on between this polarity and on in America is just it's incredible.
intense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very intense, and so yeah, we'll
So
see
anyway,
how.
I like to confront it with you, so it's good to confront that. So we're actually, I think we have a theme for our next session, and we're going to get together during our next session, and we're going to talk about kind of the essence of the reality of our condition around good and bad, dark, light, or whatever. So we're going to hit the pause button right now, but please join us for our next conversation and stay tuned. And it is always a pleasure, Richard.
Thank you, Chris. It's a pleasure with you as well.